Hi, it's Chris Watkin here from Landlord Farming, and I'm with Chris Buckler and Peter Chabris from Keller Williams. Morning, boys.
Morning, how you doing? Chabris.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Chabris, like wine Chablis.
Yeah, should we do that aside?
That'd be great. I think that's a nice intro.
Yeah.
Can we not?
Yeah, keep that in.
Keep that in.
Keep that in. Right then. So you chaps are from Keller Williams.
That's correct, yeah.
Who are Keller Williams?
Keller Williams is the world's largest real estate company, so we're in 30 plus countries, we've got 185,000 agents worldwide, and yeah, we just do things very, very differently to what we do here, which is great.
Good stuff. And Peter, why do you Americans call it real estate, not estate agency?
Because we're not quite as advanced as you guys are yet. We're only 200 years old, so indulge our ignorance, if you would, just a little bit longer.
Good stuff. And so what's an American doing in Britain?
Gosh, there's so much opportunity in the estate agency industry here in the UK, and Chris has told me a little bit about it, and I've come over and met estate agents and understood a little bit about the industry, and there's just so much opportunity between changes in technology and between changes in mindset that's going on with the consumer, and some of the opportunities that present themselves in this market.
What are you a real estate agent in America?
Yes, we call them realtors.
Do you? Good stuff. Fantastic. What do you think the Americans could teach us Brits about estate agency or real estate?
Nothing. We would never be as presumptuous as to come here and tell you how to do your job. What we do believe that we can help potentially the estate agency with is mindset. I've been here for a week and I've seen there's a lot of an employee kind of mindset with estate agents. And one of the things that we would like to share is with a different economic model where the estate agent is making more of their fee, significantly more, we can start cultivating a business mindset with estate agents. They're business owners, they have the opportunity to build big businesses and live big lives. And that's what we would like to share with the local estate agents.
But if you say to any British estate agent, the American model, they always use and I can say this word, the RE/MAX model, and that didn't work. I know there are a couple of RE/MAXs left. But what makes you lot so different?
So when I set up my business, the reason I brought Peter in is as I said, we've got 100.
So Chris, you set up your own.
I've set up, Keller Williams London Bridge. What I basically did was said, right, we've got 185,000 agents worldwide. How do I surround myself with the very best talent in the industry? So Peter, if you don't mind me saying, is in the top 100 group for productive agents. Now, the reason that's important for me is that I can leverage all of his skills, his mistakes, anything I want, so he can pour it into us. The difference between Keller Williams and RE/MAX for me is we are a training company, we're a training and technology company.
What, you're not an estate agent or real estate agent?
The guys that work for me that I work for, so the guys in my team are estate agents, but they're my clients. So I look after them, so I have to provide them with
clients?
They're my clients. The way I see it is...
Hold on, I thought you were an estate agent.
So I run a training and technology company where estate agents can come and be equipped with the very best training in the industry and the very best technology. So rather than opening a franchise, I won't mention any names, but a standard estate agent franchise where I'm the MD at the top and the agents work for me, it's very much almost an upside down triangle, if you like. I work for the agents and I have to provide them with the very best training and technology that the industry's seen, which is slightly different to RE/MAX, and if I don't do that, my guys leave. So I'm not the guy at the top taking all the money, I'm the guy that has to push and push and push best practice into my agents. And again, having Peter on my flank, who's done it for 10 plus years, one of the most successful guys in the US, means that, listen, Peter's not over here telling us this is how you do real estate or estate agency, and you have to follow this.
Is Peter involved in your business?
He is indeed. So Peter mentors me, coaches me. He spent the week, last week, training our agents 3.5 days. Looking at their business plans. What Peter said earlier is we need to change the mindset in the estate agency of I'm an employee, I get 10% of what I bill, I'm just transactional. I'm not a business owner, I'm not out there running a business which, when I do well, it will substantially change my life and my trajectory. What Peter brings is the experience of that journey. So listen, real estate, I don't like the term. When Donald Trump got in power, I lost a load of funding for one of my development projects, so I wasn't the biggest fan of Americans at that point. But it certainly is Americans coming over here saying, this is how we do it, listen to us. it's very much, we're a training company and look, this works, this doesn't, have you looked at this? And they deal with, Peter taught a class last week on customer experience, not customer service. And that subtlety is so different. And you look at the touch points, you look at the interactions that the guys, whether it's in Canada, the US, Mexico, we're pretty much in most countries now. If you look at the way they deal with the client and the way they see the client, it's very, very different to, let's just get it over the line, let's never speak to them again, we take 10% and they'll probably never refer us, and they didn't really like us in the first place. It's a different way of looking at it. But I think when you've got the likes of the online guys, Purple, BRITS, Yopa, driving down prices, you've got a lot of independents and even some of the bigger names dropping down prices to compete because they don't want to give it away. And I was guilty in that in my last agency because I wanted that boards breed boards. For someone now to come in and say, almost like a family office, if you deal with me, I'm your client for life and I will treat you with integrity and the utmost respect, and I won't just taxi an offer to you back and forth saying it's a good offer, you should accept it, but I really care about you. That for me, there's a huge gap for that in the market, and that's why Peter's here and that's why I do what I do.
Peter, do you want to add anything to that?
I think Chris is spot on.
Thank
Is that
you.
good?
Yeah, it's great.
So Chris is spot on. In the absence of value, fees are going to drop, right? And I think right now, and this is no judgment, there isn't a ton of service and there isn't always the best fiduciary behavior because it's a non-licensed industry here, right? And so in the absence of value, absolutely prices will and should come down in when you've got this onslaught of technology. It's happening everywhere. But when
It's almost becoming like a commodity now, is a state agency. That's where your Yopas and your Purple BRITS are taking it.
That's right. If there is no value and you're in an antiquated fee structure or value proposition, then yeah, fees will come down and technology will flatten. But when you have relationships and you create value in your fiduciary behavior for your client, fees very much make a big difference. And there's estate agents in the United States that are building huge businesses and huge lives because they care about their client and they create value for their client in the process. And that's huge.
Coming back to the way you work, so you in essence have this, like an office full of desks, a bit like an old-fashioned Foxtons where you have lots of desks and lots of computers.
Yeah.
And your job is not to crack the whip like a normal MD. Your job, because they're all self-employed, is to ensure that they go out there and help and support them.
For me, it's a fundamental difference between management and leadership. What I need to do is create a culture and environment where these guys want to go and thrive, where it's very much learning based. We follow the same routine every day. Our founder, Gary Keller, wrote a book called The One Thing, and it basically said, if you want to go and have a big life, what's the one thing you can do that makes everything else kind
That is an amazing book.
It's a great book. Whether
It's life-changing.
Whether you like what
It
we're
is.
saying or not, get the one thing.
It's not a business book, it's a life book.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll build.
Because I'm 3/4 of the way through it and I'm
Okay.
to mention the state agency.
And I don't know if he does.
He doesn't.
No. So there we go. So what's the big learn, or your big kind of aha, as we'd call it, from the book so far?
Just focus on one thing and make sure you do it.
Right. And what would you? And if you're an estate agent, what should that be?
Well, you should care about yourself and you should care about your customer.
Exactly that, right? And so for us, we break our day down into menial steps. And again, this isn't me dictating this is how you come into the office and this is how you work and you have to do this. It's very much if you want to go and grow a big life, and we bring it back to kind of Simon Sinek's reason why, and we plan everything out, then these are the habits that you should follow, and will help you, coach you, guide you, mentor you, so that you can go and achieve what you want to achieve.
Maybe we could talk about that in the next video.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chris.